What is up, guys? It's TDub15 back at it with another video for you guys. And today we will be going over my first round NFL mock draft predictions. I hope you guys all had a fantastic Easter. And with that, let's get into it. With the first overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft, the Cincinnati Bengals will take Joe Burrow, quarterback out of LSU. The Bengals will not trade this pick. They need a quarterback. Their quarterbacks suck and they're terrible. They could draft Chase Young. They do need defense, but they need a quarterback more. They need a franchise leader. So they will take Joe Burrow out of LSU. With the second overall pick in the NFL draft, the Washington Redskins will take Chase Young, defensive end, out of Ohio State. The Redskins, they've been tempting to get a quarterback here, but they already have Dwayne Haskins, so that doesn't really make any sense because they drafted him last year, and they need a edge rusher more than they need a quarterback right now. They still haven't seen what Dwayne Haskins' potential is, so they will take Chase Young with the second pick. And with the third overall pick, the Detroit Lions will take Jeff Okudah, a cornerback out of Clemson. Now, the Lions, they need a cornerback after they traded away Darius Slay to the Philadelphia Eagles. And they could go quarterback as Matthew Stafford is pretty old, but I think they want to ride with him for a couple more years, so they won't need a quarterback this year, but probably in like 2 years they'll need a quarterback. But their number one need is a cornerback right now, as they traded away their number one overall corner. So they will take Jeff Okudah. With the fourth overall pick in the draft, the New York Giants will take Isaiah Simmons, a linebacker out of Clemson. Now, the Giants, they do need a lineman to protect their franchise quarterback and their franchise running back, Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. But they do desperately need playmakers on defense, and Isaiah Simmons is one of the top defensive playmakers in this draft. And I think that they will be tempted to take him because he has a greater, higher ceiling than an offensive lineman. So they will take Isaiah Simmons with the fourth pick. And with the fifth pick in the draft, the Miami Dolphins will take Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback from Alabama. Now, we've heard for months that the Dolphins, they need a quarterback. And so I think they will take their franchise quarterback with this pick, and this is a very good pick for the Dolphins, and they will have a very bright future if they take Tua. With the sixth overall pick, the Los Angeles Chargers will take Justin Herbert, a quarterback from Oregon. Now, the Chargers, they lost Phillip Rivers over the offseason, and they desperately do need a quarterback, as Tyrod Taylor is not the solution for their quarterback situation. So I think they will draft their franchise quarterback, Justin Herbert, in the first round. And with the seventh overall pick, the Carolina Panthers will take Derek Brown, defensive tackle from Auburn. Now, the Panthers, they need a defensive lineman to cause havoc to their for their defense, because they did not have a very good pass rush last year, and they couldn't add any pressure to the quarterback. So I think they will take a pass rusher with this pick so they can pressure those opposing quarterbacks in their division. So the Panthers will take Derek Brown with this pick. With the eighth overall pick, the Arizona Cardinals will take Tristan Wirfs, an offensive lineman from Iowa. Now, the Cardinals could have taken a wide receiver with this pick, but they traded for it, the best wide receiver in the game, DeAndre Hopkins. So they don't need a wide receiver anymore. So I think they will take an offensive lineman to protect Kyler Murray. That's a safer pick. And so Tristan Wirfs will be the answer to their offensive line. And so the Cardinals will take Tristan Wirfs with this pick. With the 9th overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars will take Jedrick Wills, an offensive lineman from Alabama. Now, the Jaguars, they need an offensive lineman to protect Gardner Minshew, their chosen future quarterback, as they traded away Nick Foles. So I think they need an offensive lineman to protect Gardner Minshew so he can produce more on the field. So they will take Jedrick Wills with this pick. With the 10th overall pick, the Cleveland Browns will take Mekhi Becton, an offensive lineman from Louisville. The Cleveland Browns, they need an offensive lineman to protect Baker Mayfield, and they don't need any playmakers with this pick. They just need someone to protect Baker so he can pass to Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry and all those other offensive playmakers. So they will take Jedrick Wills with the 10th pick. With the 11th pick, the New York Jets will take CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver out of Oklahoma. Now, the Jets recently just lost their top receiver, Robbie Anderson, to the Carolina Panthers. So they desperately need a wide receiver to help Sam Darnold out, and they need a playmaker too. So they will take CeeDee Lamb, one of the best wide receivers in this draft, and this is a very good pick for the Jets. With the 12th pick, the Las Vegas Raiders, not the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders will take Jerry Jeudy, a wide receiver out of Alabama. Now, we've known that the Raiders, they've needed a wide receiver for the past couple of years. They've had decent wide receiver production, but they haven't had that top wide receiver that they've desperately needed, because Antonio Brown last year, he messed around with the team, and he never got to play with the Raiders as he got released. So they need a top wide receiver, so they will take Jerry Jeudy, one of the best wide receivers in this draft. With the 13th pick, the San Francisco 49ers will take Henry Ruggs, a wide receiver out of Alabama. Now, the Niners, they lost Emmanuel Sanders, their wide receiver, their veteran wide receiver from the Super Bowl. So they need another playmaker to pair with Deebo Samuel, who was a pretty good wide receiver this year for the Niners. So they will take a wide receiver with this pick. With the 14th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will take Andrew Thomas, an offensive tackle from Georgia. Now, the Buccaneers need an offensive lineman to protect Tom Brady so that he doesn't get sacked and their season won't be ruined. They need Tom Brady to stay healthy, so they will take a young offensive lineman with this pick to protect Brady. With the 15th overall pick, the Denver Broncos will take Justin Jefferson, a wide receiver out of LSU. Now, the Broncos, they need another offensive playmaker on their team. Courtland Sutton is their top wide receiver right now. He's okay, but they need another wide receiver to help out Drew Lock next year. That's what they need with this pick, so they will take a wide receiver with the 15th overall pick. With the 16th pick, the Atlanta Falcons will take C.J. Henderson, a cornerback out of Florida. Now, the Falcons, they've had a lot of transition this offseason, and they need a cornerback because they've lost a lot of defensive playmakers. And so they need a young, fast defensive playmaker to stop the opposing wide receivers and running backs in their division. So they will take C.J. Henderson, one of the best cornerbacks in this draft, with this selection. With the 17th overall pick, the Dallas Cowboys will take Trayvon Diggs, a cornerback out of Alabama. The Cowboys need a quarterback with this pick because they lost Byron Jones this offseason, their best cornerback, and so their secondary is not that good right now. So they need a cornerback to help out that secondary in order for Dallas to improve in the division this year. With the 18th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins will take Austin Jackson, an offensive lineman out of USC. Now, the Dolphins need an offensive lineman to protect their franchise quarterback, who I project will be Tua Tagovailoa. So they need an offensive lineman to protect him and help out the running backs in Miami. So they will take an offensive lineman with this selection. With the 19th overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders will take Damon Arnette, a cornerback out of Ohio State. Now, the Raiders, they've had a bad secondary this past couple of years, and they need a cornerback with this selection. So they will take Damon Arnette with this pick. With the 20th overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars will take Kristian Fulton, a cornerback out of LSU. The Jaguars need a cornerback after they lost A.J. Bouye and Jalen Ramsey this season. And so their secondary is not that great right now. So they need a cornerback to help out their secondary. So they will take Kristian Fulton with this pick. With the 21st overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles will take Jalen Reagor, a wide receiver out of TCU. Now, we know that the Philadelphia Eagles, they need a wide receiver, as they haven't had a productive, great wide receiver the past couple of years after their Super Bowl win. So they will take Jalen Reagor with this pick. With the 22nd overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings will take Jalen Johnson, a quarterback out of Utah. Now, the Vikings, they need a cornerback with this pick because they haven't had a elite secondary besides Harrison Smith. And Jalen Johnson will help out with that secondary massively. And so they will take him with this selection. With the 23rd overall pick, the New England Patriots will take Jordan Love, a quarterback out of Utah State. Now, the Patriots, they need a quarterback after they lost Tom Brady this offseason. And I don't think they believe that much in Jarrett Stidham, their backup quarterback. So they will take Jordan Love with this selection to be their supposed franchise quarterback. With the 24th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints will take Patrick Queen, a linebacker out of LSU. Now, the Saints, they need a linebacker as their defense was not great this year, and they need a lot of more tackles to tackle opposing offenses to help out that defense. So they will take Patrick Queen with this selection. With the 25th overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings will take T. Higgins, a wide receiver out of Clemson. Now, the Vikings, they need a wide receiver as they lost Stephon Diggs this offseason. So they need a wide receiver to pair with Adam Thielen. And so they will take a young wide receiver with this selection. With the 26th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins will take Xavier McKinney, a safety out of Alabama. The Dolphins, they need more secondary help because their defense was pretty bad last season. And so they will address the secondary with this selection. With the 27th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks will take A.J. Epinesa, a defensive end out of Iowa. Now, the Seattle Seahawks, they need a defensive end as they're going to lose Jadeveon Clowney in free agency. So they will address the need with this pick. With the 28th overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens will take Michael Pittman Jr., a wide receiver out of USC. Now, the Ravens, they need another elite wide receiver to pair with Hollywood Brown. So they need a wide receiver with this pick so their offense can rise to elite production. Maybe they will sign Antonio Brown, Hollywood Brown's cousin, but they still need a wide receiver to help out Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. With the 29th overall pick, the Tennessee Titans will take Josh Jones, an offensive tackle out of Houston. Now, the Titans, they need an offensive lineman to protect Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry so that they can make a push in the AFC. With the 30th overall pick, the Green Bay Packers will take Denzel Mims, a wide receiver out of Baylor. Now, the Packers, they need another wide receiver besides Devontae Adams, and so I think they will address the need with this pick because they haven't had a reliable number 2 receiver besides Randall Cobb in the past, so they will take Denzel Mims with this pick. With the 31st overall selection, the San Francisco 49ers will take Jeff Gladney, a cornerback out of TCU. Now, we know that the Niners, they need more secondary help as their secondary did not show up in the second half of the Super Bowl versus the Chiefs, obviously. So I think they will address their need here with this pick, and they will add to a stacked defense in San Francisco. And with the 32nd overall pick, my Kansas City Chiefs right here will take A.J. Terrell, a cornerback out of Clemson. And the Chiefs will take him because they need more secondary help, as their secondary was okay last year. But I think they will address their need by selecting A.J. Terrell with this pick. And that's all, guys. That was my prediction for my mock draft picks for the first round. Please tell me if you have any different picks, if you agree with them, if you dislike them, or if you don't care about my picks. I would love to hear in the comments section. As always, thanks for everything. Like and subscribe to this video and channel. And I'm gone. See you later.